Hi there, Son here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to fetch JSON data on a React project. For this tutorial I'm going to use this website called DemioDB. It's an open source database with some recipes. And the good thing about this website is you don't even need to create an account to use it. So here in API we have a couple of options. And I'm going to show this one for you. Okay. Here you have a JSON file with an object with the name meals and some properties like the name, the instructions, and the image here. So let's copy this and let's open our project. To save some time, I already created a React project. Okay. I'm going to open on VS Code, and here inside of source I'm going to create a folder called components, and inside of components a new file called meal.js. I'm going to create a boilerplate here with the name meal, and I'm going to import this. Oh, I already did. And now you need to import the component meal inside of app.js. And now let's start our server. Let's deal with our component meal. Here we're going to use React hooks. The first one is going to be use effect to render our data, and the second one is going to be use state to deal with the state of our data. So let's create a new state with the name meal. It's going to start as an empty array, and let's create our useEffect function. Okay, the useEffect function receives two parameters. The first one, it's a function. It's going to receive our load data that we are going to create, and the second parameter, it's an empty array. This empty array tells React to only render our useEffect function once, and it's gonna be when we load our page. Okay, so now let's create our load data function. It's gonna be a async arrow function. It needs to be async because we are dealing with a request. Okay, so let's create a constant first to store our JSON file. And here let's create a const response equals await fetch URL API. Let's create a new const with the name data that receives await.json. Oh, I forgot to put arrow function. Okay. Now let's use our setMeal state to load our data. Oh, the name of our object, it's meals, so we need to put here. Let's call him here. And before we load the page, let's see our console log. Save it. And before save it, we need to call our function inside of useEffect. As you can see here, we have our array with only one object, so we need to display this on our page. Okay, so for this, let's call our state meal and use the map method that receives a parameter item and an arrow function. Okay, let's create a new div here, and let's create a h1 to display the name of our recipe. str meal, str item. Here. As you can see, it's here. So now we can load other properties that we want. Let's upload the instructions of our recipe inside of a paragraph. And the category inside of a span. The image. I'm using Bootstrap to style our page, so I'm gonna call some classes here. Here I'm gonna call our container, and here I'm gonna use the class role. Okay. And I'm gonna create two columns. The first one with only the image. Class. Sorry. And let's create another div column. Put this here. And here in rows, let's make this responsive. Okay, row, columns, 1. And here, row calls FG 2 for big screens. Oh, before I finish the video, I need to show you guys one thing. Every time you use a API JSON file, we need to use a unique key ID for the object, okay? In this case, we put here in the div role to identify the object, okay? And we are using this attribute, this property, sorry, that receives this number, okay? So I'm gonna put the project link on the description, and if someone has a question, you can leave on the comments that I'm gonna answer you. Okay, thank you for watching. See ya.